Hello everybody, my name is Arthur and these are my friends Erik and Anderson, and today we are going to share our seminar about the perspectives of the doctorate degree. So we would like to start with a table of contents of our presentation. So first we will briefly introduce the doctorate degree, like how how it works, how is this process, okay? And then we will move to the difference between master's degree and the doctorate degree. Then we will try to contextualize it in our context in the Brazil, okay? Then we'll talk a little bit about the educational products, then the scientific method in the doctorate, which we will also talk about a question for debate, and then the reference, okay? Okay, so first we will start with the introduction to the doctorate degree. Okay, so what does it mean to do a doctorate? Okay, so next slide, please. So there is this phrase of the Franklin University, a little definition that it says that in the doctorate you will culminate in the creation, submission, presentation, and defense of a research dissertation or similar type of comprehensive final project. Okay, so what does it mean? So it means that the doctoral student will find a theme that he wants to search, for example, the effects of the remote learning in children, and then he will gather information and data for analysis, okay, to use later in his thesis. And it will bring new perspectives, ideas that he will analyze and brought through all the academic context, okay? And all this knowledge that is gathered by research and analysis will also contribute to academic knowledge, because when it turns into a thesis and academic material, others, students and professors can also read it and know more about this theme or research, okay?
Hello guys, my name is Anderson. Now I will present my part here. I believe that this part here is so important because I have the intention here to make a distinction between the master degree and the doctorate, and there are many questions about the difference of both. And so I will read this part here, this slide. Difference between master degree and doctorate degree. Average time to complete a master degree is 24 months. Final work is a thesis. Average time to complete a doctorate degree is 48 months. Final work is a dissertation. Okay.
Good evening, I'm Erik. Um, so this leads us to the question, uh, can we receive the doctorate degree before the master's degree? Most universities at Brazil will only accept students to do the doctorate degree after they have done the master's degree. But there are some exceptions. For example, if the candidate's research project and academic curriculum stands out. Another possibility is if they study abroad. Many universities abroad in other countries, it's very common they receive students to PhD programs right after they finish graduation. But the admission process are very rigorous. For instance, they will look into your academic record in undergraduation, your research experiences in the area. A very important thing is to be recommended by the professors in the university, and your academic achievements.
So guys, to finish this part here about the doctorate, the path to enter in the doctorate requires more two steps here to with is a exam and an interview. The selection process for a doctorate varies from one institution to another, which is the exam, like I said, and the interview. Okay.
So here I'm going to show you a little bit of the doctorate degrees that were awarded in 2018. So the private university has a rate of 12.6% of doctorate degrees given to students. The municipal university with 0.2%, the state universities with 30.5%, and the federal universities with 60.7%.
Okay, so before talking about the educational products, I would like to give credit to the previous group that talked about the master's degree, okay? João Maria and Edline. We talked a little bit about definition, and we decided that the best definition we could agree with was that educational products would be like any resource or material that in the context could be used to produce research and can be used in education, learning or teaching. Okay, so other thing to think about is this question like, can theses and dissertations be considered educational products? And in our opinion, we think so because these theses and dissertations actually brought a lot of knowledge, and this knowledge is something really meaningful that we can use to learn about a lot of themes. For example, as I mentioned before, the theme of the effects of the remote learning in children, and these research and theses are actually used in teaching and learning, so we can really consider it an educational product.
So the doctorate and the scientific method. The scientific method is a research process that follows a certain sequence of steps. I believe that this part here is important to emphasize the importance about the methodology. There are for sure many sequence, okay, of steps to achieve a good work throughout the process of the doctorate. Now I will read this part here because there are too many points, which is so important. Marconi and Lacatus, 2003, defined that scientific method is divided into 4 stages as follows. 1. Observation, A, which is the stage when questions are asked about the observed fact, the formulation of hypothesis, which is a possible explanation for the problem in question. B. Experimentation, when the researcher conducts experiments to prove the veracity of the hypothesis. C. Interpretation of results, when the researcher interprets the results of his research. And finally, the conclusion, when a final and considerable analysis made about the fact in question. Okay? Every doctoral thesis requires scientific and academic foundation. Okay, is part of the job. This part, this steps, which is so important to make a good job with a sequence of steps, because it requires a good methodology throughout the process to make the contribution. Okay, is it necessary to know more languages? Yes, at least 2 foreign languages are required. One which is English. We have a contrast here because the master degrees requires 1 language and the doctorate requires 2 languages, foreign languages. Okay, is a distinction between of both here, which is so important to emphasize too. What is the ultimate goal of the doctoral student? The student's objective is to contribute with new discoveries for a certain theme. The students so need to learn and improve and make a new contribution is the main goal of the students, and the doctorate is this: make new contributions to to help the academy and society through the process is so important. Need this new discoveries, okay? Is so important. Make the discoveries during the process.
Now, just to synthesize, we already talked about this process of doing a doctorate, like you choosing a team for you to research and look for information, and then you do the analysis, and then also there is the point that it also need to be like you need to be approved for you to get this title of doctor. Okay.
So we also have the doctorate degree before the master's degree, which requires a lot of things to be able to do that. And we have the doctorate degrees award in Brazil, just to inspire you if you are intending to achieve the doctorate degrees in Brazil.
Inform the necessary requirements to start a doctorate is important for sure. And descriptions of the scientific methods is so important too. I pointed this through the job here because to make a distinction between the master degree and doctorate is so important because there are many questions about the of both. And this description of scientific methods is important because requires always many steps through the years of doctorate, and at this point it's so important to emphasize, and we did it through this work here, through the presentation. Okay.
Now we have a question for you to debate. What are the requirements for someone who intends to do a doctorate, and do you intend or imagine yourself doing it? So a question for you guys to think about and discuss. So now we have our final considerations.
So we think that it is very important to talk about it because we are in our journey in the academics, right? So in some point we might think about it, like doing doctorate. So we kind of know what it is, but we don't know which processes and things, requirements, for example, that we need to do that.
It was important for me because these distinctions of master degree and doctorate was important for me because we have here many distinctions, and to emphasize this was important. Are two categories of learning, and the process is different. So it was nice. I learned a lot throughout this job here. Was important for me, the considerations too.
Yeah, I think it's very important for us to discuss this kind of subject because it's not something that sometimes is very much talked in the universities. Even though it's so important, we don't sometimes have much of a discuss about what is the master's degree, what is the doctorate degree, and what is the difference between them. So it was nice to be able to understand better how it works. This is our references. And that was it, guys. Thank you so much for watching us, and I hope that you could learn a little bit more about doctorate with this video. So thank you and see you.